Hi, I'm Susan Brackley, and we are going through the book of Proverbs. Today we're doing Proverbs 6, verse 8, and I hope that you've been following along. We've been doing Proverbs right from the beginning, verse 1, and today we are in the middle of, as you hopefully saw last time, in the middle of the subject of being slothful and learning from the ant that God has given us through Solomon's writing of Proverbs. He's given us some illustrations and some object lessons through the ant, and to learn diligence if we're lazy. And I love how God cares about every intricate thing about us. He cares that if we're lazy, He doesn't want us to be stuck in laziness. He gives us an out. He gives us answers to life and godliness. So let's get right in and read Proverbs chapter 6. I'm going to start at verse 6 because that's where this subject starts. And then we're going to only cover verse 8 today. So it says, go to the ant, go to school if you want to learn something, go out to the education, and it doesn't cost anything, in your backyard, and, O sluggard, and consider her ways and be wise. If you want wisdom to get out of your laziness, go look at this illustration of the ant. And it says, without having any chief officer or ruler, nobody to boss them and nobody to oversee their work. And this is what we're doing today. She prepares her bread in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. Now this verse here shows us that there's a time to plant and there's a time to harvest. And if you procrastinate in the spring when you're supposed to be putting the seeds in the ground, you are not going to have a harvest. Even if you have good motives and you say, I'm going to start a little bit late, your things will not come up at the right time. You can't go when everyone else is pulling their pumpkins out of the patch and their potatoes and their carrots and things. You can't just start yours then. It's too late. You have to wait till next spring to start them again. So I also wanted to go to Proverbs chapter 30. Run over there with me and always have your Bible ready whenever you do a study with me, because I like to have us familiar with the Word of God. Proverbs 30 verse 25 says, about the ant, it says, the ants are a people, they're not strong, yet they provide their food in the summer. Okay, they are diligent, they get ready and they prepare ahead their food to, like it says here in Proverbs 6:8. So we've been told to go to the university of the pesky ants right outside in our backyard and learn a very valuable lesson, and to become wise and to watch them and observe their ways. A diligent person like the ant, okay, if you're a diligent person, or if you know of a diligent person, they're like the ant in that they use their time wisely and they work at being efficient, okay? They really try to keep things up, and they're usually hustling, bustling around all the time. They don't always wait till the weekend and hoe out this whole room. That's spring cleaning. But they keep up on things all throughout the day. That's one of the things they do. A lazy person, on the other hand, is wasteful and unmotivated and keeps putting things off until it piles up and becomes a huge task. Instead of picking up and doing all day long, all throughout the day, and taking care of business, they let it pile up. So Proverbs chapter 10, let's run over to Proverbs 10. Okay, if I can find it. Okay, I guess I'm not in the right place. Proverbs chapter 10. Okay. Verse 4 and 5 says, a slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. One makes, the rule of thumb is, if you're lazy, you usually have poverty. You don't have as much as you could have. If you are a diligent person, you have more because of it. And that doesn't always come to play. That's just the rule of thumb. There are some poor people that are very diligent. They just can't get ahead in life. He who gathers in the summer is a prudent person. Prudent, another word for being diligent, okay, not lazy. But he who sleeps in the harvest is a son who suffers shame. Okay, those who would rather play their computer games and they'd rather just laze around and watch movies and do, entertaining type of things. They are the ones that are going to smart in the end. They're gonna be not be smart, but they're going to smart for it. They're going to pay for it because they're not going to have the things that they desire because they wasted time and effort. So the focus here on these verses here, and especially this one in verse 8, is hard work. The ant does what is appropriate at the wisest time, okay? It's not just, like I said, if you don't get your seeds in the ground at the right time, it's a waste of your effort because you didn't do it at the right time. So it's wise to prepare ahead and see what needs to be done. Every year, kind of the cycle goes around the same, right? You know that you got to do your shopping for groceries. You know that you've got to get clothes for the kids because they're going to outgrow them. You know that they're going to need Pampers. You know that Christmas is coming. You know birthdays are coming. Plan ahead. Get ready. Look at the calendar the month before and write things in and say, I got to get ready, right? Maybe on the first day of the month, right? I need to get ready for the birthday party coming up on the 10th, so that you're not running out the 10th or the 9th at midnight saying, what am I going to get for the kids? See, prepare ahead. Again, do what's appropriate at the wisest time. So it's good for us to prepare for the future, even not just years ahead, and not just months ahead, and not even just a few days ahead. The future of this day, this very day, we kind of know that supper's going to be, people are going to be hungry around supper time when they get home. We know that the laundry needs to be done because people have to go back to work or back to school or back to whatever they're doing, and that needs to be done instead of running here and there because, oh no, we're out of dishcloths, oh no, we're out of these or that. And it just causes a havoc, and it wreaks havoc in a home, and it causes disorder and confusion. So the emphasis here is taking the effort at the right time and prudently using it to productive labor, to get up and say, look, it's really fun watching this movie, or it's really fun sitting here talking to you on the phone, or maybe it's really fun sitting here playing games or sleeping and napping and sleeping some more. It might be very fun and comfortable, no doubt, swimming in your pool out back, but it's not going to get everything done. So get everything done first and then take a little time to relax. So again, efficient, be an efficient person, have that be your goal. Efficient means doing a job quickly, but accurately. Some people do things quickly, but they're not done right. Or things, they do it right, but they take all day to do a task that really should only take them a couple hours or maybe an hour. And yet they're slow and they're pokey at it. So to have that be your goal is to be an efficient person. Work quickly, but accurately. Be well organized, efficient, effective, and resourceful too. So it's exciting for us to dream and have goals and set in motion some of the things that we'd like to do. Like you might want to diet, you might want to garden or have a family, or you might want to have a job and you want to go to school for a certain thing, or any other thing that you dream of being or doing in your life. But it's necessary not just to dream, but to put forth the effort to get through to the end. I mean, to be honest with you, I would love to play the piano really, 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 really well, but I don't want to practice it, right? So you have to take and put the time and the effort into something if you're going to be good at it, and if you're going to get the good fruit out of what you put your labor to. So I've written a book, by the way. It's called Woman of Virtue. It's applying Proverbs 31 to the 21st century woman. And there's a lot about her being diligent. Read Proverbs chapter 1. Buy that book if you can. It has a lot about teaching yourself not to be lazy, and to teach your children how a mom can teach her children and raise her children up not to be lazy. So again, take the necessary effort, but you also have to follow through. I mean, a lot of things we're going to start this and we're going to start that, and we spend money, we get the stuff we need, and we start something and we don't follow it through to the end. And a lot of people struggle with that as unfinished projects. So we want to have the self-discipline and acquire the self-discipline. Self-discipline comes by self-discipline. Okay, you need to discipline yourself. When you discipline your child, you make them do what they don't want to do, right? You make them do what they're not wanting to do. Self-discipline is making yourself do what you don't feel like doing. It's that basic, is making yourself get up off the couch, put the phone off, put it on silence, and stop checking it every 2 minutes. Okay, to get rid of the social media for a while. Just hang your phone up, so to speak, like they did in the old days. Until it rings, don't go near it. All right? You need to have a goal in mind and then set in motion the things that will bring forth that goal to the best of your ability, that's being efficient, so that you can at the end acquire a job well done and that you've used your time wisely. Boy, it's nice to put your head on your pillow when you can go to bed with a clear conscience knowing that you didn't waste the day. You need to use what's apropos to the time and the opportunity that you have, because opportunity doesn't always stay with us and the time doesn't either. So take the very best advantage of the time that you have right now and do what God would have you do today. Don't let this film here sound so good to you and you want to do this and you're going to try. No, really try. Put forth effort today. Don't say, well, next Monday I'm going to start, or tomorrow's a clean slate. No, today, start a clean slate right now. So let's go to Ecclesiastes 3, verses 1 through 8. And it says, and we've heard this before, but listen, there's a time for everything. There's a time for everything. There is a time and a season, a time for every matter under the heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to tear up and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. So pick the best time and the wisest time and use the right moments of your day. We're all given 24 hours in a day, and think of that diligent person, how much they can get done in one day. And by the way, you can too. You can become that diligent person. I know of many people. I'm more diligent today than I was when we first got married. I mean, I used to not even make my bed when we get up. Okay, I used to leave it unmade and get back into an unmade bed at night. Now I make my bed while it's still warm. Okay, so if I can change, you can change, right? Okay, sloth and idleness and laziness, procrastination can offer the longest list of excuses in the world, but they only convince themselves. Lazy people are only convinced by themselves. They might say, well, I can't, and if I only had good appliances, or if I only had a dishwasher, and I'd keep this house, and my vacuum doesn't work. All those excuses, they don't add up. If you don't have a vacuum, use a broom. It's not as convenient, but you can get it done, right? I know that it's hard to change habits. It's very difficult. The flesh resists discipline and effort. It does. It resists it, hates it. We can't expect to change if we value comfort over conviction. Now, it takes about a month to acquire change. To change a habit, it takes about a month. And by the way, at the end of the month, it's not going to be you're automatically a diligent person. No, it's going to be that you say, wow, it's not as hard as it was. It's easier for me to be this type of person, but you're still going to have to be disciplined. Everybody has to be still disciplined. It's not over in a month, but it takes that long for it to click in that this is our new way of living. All right? So we can't explain it away. We can't excuse it away. If we're not diligent people, we need to admit that. And we need to reprogram our habits in our minds and our temperament and our lazy ways. And we need to change them, get up off and make ourselves the kind of person that God would have us be. So change is possible. Don't lie to yourself. Don't believe that I've always been a lazy person. My parents were lazy. My grandparents were lazy. Well, then stop. Don't let it go on to your children. Stop it now in your life. And how? How do you do it? One hard decision at a time, day after day after day. Get up and do what's uncomfortable. Take a small amount of time to entertainment and vacationing and that type of thing. Not a big amount of time. Don't overly rest. You don't need that much sleep a day. You just need what's sufficient for your body. So anyway, this is getting long, and I hope you'll follow along, and please share these. Thanks.